Hey, welcome back to the Sweater Knit Along. I'm Jana with Purl Together, and today you're getting the hat version of me because, when you live on a farm, sometimes you work in the afternoon and you take a shower at night before you go to bed. And then sometimes the next morning you may or may not have time to take another shower before doing a video. So you get the hat instead of the sticky uppy bed head. But we're just all about keeping it real. So welcome to the sleeve portion of our sweater tutorial. So before we jump into that, I want to say a big thank you to Sheila and Judy for joining the patron family over at patreon.com/Purl Together. So Purl Together patrons help keep these videos coming to you each and every week or every 10 days or so. And they also receive benefits like discounts off classes and events and knit-alongs and stuff like that we do. So if you want to check that out, click on over. But let's get started with the sweater. Now, the sleeve is going to be knitted the same way from the cuff up. A lot of people who don't want to do that and are all about not seaming things together, you certainly could pick up the stitches around your sleeve hole, your armhole, and knit the sleeves from the top down, doing your decreases as you go in that event. Now, if you do that, things are going to look just slightly different because you're changing the direction of knitting. Not that you can really tell so much in the solid color portion. It does change the way the color dashes will look slightly. Not that you can't do that. Now, a couple of other people have decided to go ahead and knit the sleeve up as indicated in the pattern, and then pick up stitches around the armhole and actually Kitchener the whole thing together. That's an option too. I'm going to seam it the way the designer intended. The finishing video will be potentially late next week or the week of the 15th. So we have graduation and some other stuff coming up. So our family is going to be busy toward the end of the month. I also have a podcast for you that will probably come out next Tuesday. So we'll have a podcast next Tuesday, potential, and then the seaming video will be the week after. And then you might not hear from me from a little bit because we have graduation and stuff towards the end of the month. So follow my Instagram though, because there'll be things happening over there, just little pictures and stuff, and So then I also have some other announcements coming up about our next knit along, so you'll want to watch for that as well. Okay, let's get started with the increasing, and I'll do a little pattern translation as well, and we'll get going with that. Okay, I've worked the cuff, which was done exactly the same way as the ribbing around the bottom of our sweater. And then I knitted the first 3 rows of chart pattern repeat A, where it's just the plain gray. So now we're going to begin the sleeve increases. And if you look, she instructs you to do your increases at the beginning, the very beginning, and the very end of the round. So to do that, we're going to do a lifted increase. So the first thing is a lifted leaning to the right increase, where we're going to lift up the stitch from the row below and put that up on the left working needle, and then just knit right into that as if it were a regular stitch. Okay, so you've increased one stitch there. Then we're just going to knit all the way around, and then I'll show you how I like to do the left leaning increase at the very end of the round. So let's look for a moment while I'm knitting across this. We'll talk about the language and make sure that everybody understands what's going on. Now she has a note in there about the extra small and small sizes and how it's not, the stitch count is not a repeat of 6, so it's not going to work out exactly right unless you follow her instructions where she has a note about beginning the chart pattern repeat A. Begin that chart using the 5th stitch of the first repeat. So you're going to start on the 5th stitch and then just keep working all the way around, and then you're going to have 2 stitches left. And then you would just complete stitches 1 and 2 of the pattern repeat to finish off your round. Hopefully that makes sense. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions about that paragraph and how you're going to start out with a different stitch count that's not a multiple of 6. So that's why it feels a little weird to follow a chart that's 6 stitches when you don't have a multiple of 6, but she does indicate how you can deal with that. Now, the other thing on the sweater, on the sleeve increases, again, like we had the increases on the shoulders and the neckline shaping, I just want to make sure that you understand how many repeats of what to do. So for example, for me, I'm knitting the largest size, so I'm going to do my increases every 4th round and do that 10 times. And then I'm going to do every 6 rounds 12 times until I get to the prescribed number of stitches. So when you get to the very end here, we're going to go ahead and finish that last stitch, and then we're going to lift the stitch from the row below, which in my case, this is a left leaning increase. So this is the one you just knitted. We want the one below that, below the one you just knitted. Okay. And you're going to lift that without splitting it, hopefully, and knit into the back of it because you'll notice that it's not mounted properly. So knit into the back of that to turn it the other way around. I'll link a video down below that shows more carefully the left and right leaning lifted increases, and so you can watch that more slowly. All right, I've got a good start on the sleeve here. I'm on the 6th color of my first set of sequences, and we're doing the increases here on the beginning of the round where all the mess is, and that's we're probably going to arrange that so all of this is the underside of the sleeve, so it won't show very much. You'll notice right here that I have a little blip of just 2. That's because of the odd number that's going along. You will have some extra gray stitches here, and so instead of 3, you may have a span of more. It depends on how you want to arrange it, but obviously your set of 6 stitch repeats is not going to work out evenly every time because of the number that you're increasing as you go. So you'll just need to fuss with that a little bit. The only thing I wanted to point out is how I go about deciding, whether I'm going to have like 5 stitches here in the center or whether I'm only going to have 2, at the beginning of the round part. So what I did was I just look very carefully on the chart and see the overlap between the colors. So I know that between the 5th and 6th color, I know that the 6th color overlaps the previous one by 2. So if you just look at the columns, you can tell that I just have an overhang here of 1 stitch and it overlaps 2. And then this previous row is hanging out 1 extra column. So I just look at the row below so that then I make a decision of where I'm going to begin, but it still all lines up properly except for just at the very underside, what will be the underside of the arm. Okay, I hope that helped. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions about when to do your increases and, kind of following those instructions in the pattern. So I look forward to seeing them. Be sure to tag me on Instagram. Show me your work in progress photos. I love to see all your sweaters. And you're also welcome to post in the Ravelry and Facebook groups as well. So tag me, hashtag Pearl Together, hashtag Ripple Sweater Knit Along. Do that on Instagram. And thanks for joining me.